Hey, what's up you guys, how's it going? It's Papa, and today I wanted to showcase to you guys my Snake Eye Fiendsmith Azamina deck that I have been playing for the current format. And I know this is definitely not a deck that you're used to seeing on my channel because it is very sweaty, if I may add. I do have the YCS coming up in December, and I have been testing a few different decks. I've been testing Riziel, which we'll get to that when the new set comes out for that. I have, of course, been playing Sprite, and I have started testing the Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck. This deck just got a huge bump with the latest Yu-Gi-Oh set, Rage of the Abyss, and I know it's not the cheapest deck that you can play, but it has been one of the more effective decks that I've been playing, one of the decks that I have been learning the most from, one of the decks that just has the biggest learning curve. And if I figured that if I was going to be going to a YCS and playing it seriously, then I should probably play a serious deck. Snake Eyes did take a small break from the current format, mainly because the Azamina stuff hadn't been out yet, so we were mainly seeing Yubel decks doing well. But now that the Azamina cards are here, this deck is back again. I'm not going to make this intro too long. I just want to be able to get through all the cards because this is a 45 card list, if I'm not mistaken, from the last time I counted it. I also want to be able to go over the new cards that you're playing now, and I just want to get everything in there as soon as possible. But before we do start this video, I want to go ahead and ask you guys to please like and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, because if you like and subscribe, it lets me know that I'm doing something right. I have also been posting Yu-Gi-Oh videos on my TikTok, which I will now start putting in the link of the description of every single video. So if you guys are on TikTok, please check me out while you are there. It does a lot. But yes, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into the deck profile, shall we? Starting off with the main deck, of course, we are on the one copy of Snake Eyes Ash. Unfortunately, you cannot play more, and you know what? Maybe it's best because you'd see a lot more if this card was still at 3. I am also on the one copy of Snake Eyes Poplar. Same reasoning, you can only play one. It's probably a hell of a lot worse to draw than this one is, mainly because it is a little bit harder to combo if you are only drawing this card. You can still do something, but honestly, you'd much rather open Snake Eye Ash if that wasn't already a given. We are also on 2 copies of Snake Eye Oak, the beautiful new secret rare from the Megatons. You play 2 Oak now just because you need that extra form of follow-up. I have seen Liz play 1, I have seen people play 2. You definitely don't need 3, however, but I am playing 2 just because, again, you want that kind of follow-up just in case you get stopped mid-combo, and honestly, it has been very well for me. Worst comes to worst, going second, you can side one out and just keep going from there. I am on 1 copy of Snake Eye Flamberge. You don't need more than 1. The deck does very well with just the 1. Flamberge isn't really the main focal point of the deck. I mean, this card should still probably be banned someday, but I mean, you can definitely get away with 1. And then we are on 1 copy of Snake Eye Diabellstar just to help facilitate your 1 Divine Temples that you're all also playing. And then rounding off the Snake Eye component, we play 2 Bonfires. You could play 3 if you want to. I opted to play 2 because the Snake Eye lineup is just so small. You are only really searching for these cards, and if you open up 1 Bonfire with any of these, then it's kind of too much. Your hand just starts to clog if you see too many Snake Eye cards, so you definitely don't want to have an infinite amount of them in hand. And also, it's basically there for in case your Snake Eye Ash does get stopped, so you can always add Poplar, and then Poplar summons itself, grabs you Temple, and then you have your whole combo from there. But that's going to do it for the Snake Eye component of the deck. It is a very small lineup. Of course, since we're playing Snake Eye, you got to play your 3 copies of Diabellstar, the Black Witch, as well as your 3 Wanted of the Sinful Spoils, and of course the 1 original to basically round off the Diabellstar lineup. I mean, these cards are just broken, being able to activate Wanted in the draw phase, so it plays a round roll. Diabellstar being able to send dead cards out of your hand, whether it's a dead hand trap, whether it's a dead bonfire, whatever it is. You definitely have to max out on these, and then you only need the 1 original because it's cyclable, so it's very good. And then the brand new cards of the deck, we are on 3 copies of Deception of the Sinful Spoils. This card is absolutely insane. What this card reads is that you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, and you can add 1 Azamina card from your deck to your hand. If a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard and you control an Azamina monster, except during the damage step, you can make your opponent lose 1500 life points, and if you do, you gain 1500 life points. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there from the spell and trap zone this turn while face up, you can set it, and of course, you can only use each effect once per turn. The card does basically everything you need it to do. It helps you get an Omni Negate on board, it helps you thin out your deck. This card also recycles itself, and it's a burn card, which for some reason Konami just loves to keep printing. I like maxing out on it. Of course, when you're going second, you could also opt to play like a second, take 1 copy out. You could also probably take 2 out if you really needed to. This card does lose to cards like Ghost Ogre, It also loses to DD Crow, which reminds me we're playing the one Hollowed Azamina as well. The Hollowed Azamina is a very strong card. This card also has a really hard time against cards like Retaliating Sea, which a lot of people are starting to side deck right now. The Hollowed Azamina reads, you can reveal one Azamina fusion monster in your extra deck, and for every 4 level it has, you get to round down and send one Sinful spoil card from your hand and or field to the graveyard, and then you can special summon that revealed monster. If a card is in your graveyard, you can target one Azamina monster you control or in your graveyard. You can shuffle it back into the deck, and if you do, you can add this card to your hand. So basically, this card helps you send the Deception, and then you basically get to summon out your Arcelago, which will help you get your copy of original Sinful Spoils, and then after that, you can use the Hollowed Azamina in the graveyard to put back the Arcelago, and then you get your Silva, which is basically your anti-nib card. So that's it for your new Sinful Spoil lineup. I mean, you could possibly try to play a second Hollowed Azamina because I have seen people start siding in draw. I have been seeing people activate Retaliating Sea. The only problem is that when this deck gets hit by Retaliating Sea on the Hollowed Azamina, you still send for cost, but since it's not hitting the graveyard, you will not be able to summon the Azamina fusion. So it kind of sucks there, but you kind of have to play these cards because this is essentially what makes Snake Eye great again. And of course, we're still being extra sweaty, so we're on the Fiendsmith package as well. We play 1 copy of Lurie, only 2 Engraver. You don't need 3 Engraver anymore, mainly because you are now playing Lacrima, and Lacrima is an absolutely insane card. If the card is normal or special summon, you can send a Fiendsmith card from your deck to the graveyard except Lacrima, and then during your opponent's turn, if this card is in the graveyard, you can target 1 Fiendsmith Link monster in your graveyard, shuffle it, and if you do, you can special summon that monster. So the card's very strong. The card has so many usages. It is also Euro print, so I can't really complain too much there. But I was playing 3 Engraver, but now that we have Lacrima, I just opted to just play 2 because you still don't want to like brick on too many Fiendsmith cards because it does happen, and if it does, then you're probably losing the game. And we're still also on the 1 copy of Fiendsmith track just to be able to search any of these cards. So just 5 cards now. I mean, it was 5 cards before, but it's now 5 cards because we have Lacrima instead of the 3rd Engraver. So that's it for the Fiendsmith lineup. This is where we get real expensive. I'm sorry guys, but if you want to play this format, you need to have your copy of Mulcharmy Fuwalos. You play 3 of them. Card is absolutely nuts. Who doesn't love Maxi? Me. I don't like Maxi, like, at all. This card is a much easier check, though. I mean, this card can get hit by Ash still, and then also, like, this card just has usages. Even if you're going first and you draw this card, you can still send it off of Diabellstar since you won't be able to use your Fuwalos that turn. The card is just so good, being able to just draw into your engine or draw into your non-engine, whatever it may be. The card just has many usages, and it also just punishes players if they do try to play the game. On top of the Fuwalos, we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Card is just still busted. I mean, you need to play 3, and of course, we're playing a fire deck, so you play Hida, so if your opponent Ash Blossoms you, then you can just bring back their Ash, still keep comboing from there. Very strong. We play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Card is just still so good, even in this format. 2 copies of Ghost Ogre, and then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence to round off our hand traps. You can play Nibiru if you want. I just haven't had many good luck with Nibiru, mainly because there's a lot of Tempai at my locals, and then on top of that, I just felt like Nibiru was just going to be kind of shafted because it's going to start getting baited now by the Azamina stuff, so you don't really need to play it, especially because I am playing Crossout, so I just opted I'd rather be cross-outing one of these cards than Nibiru, because the odds of me getting Nibiru now that we have the Sylvia to be played with just isn't going to happen. And then you also still play the Caesar in the extra deck, so there's even less chance of Nibiru happening. So I just opted to just not play it altogether. Rounding off the non-engine, of course, like I said, we're on Crossout. We're only playing 2 Crossout. I still don't think you need to play 3, because especially I'm still playing 2 talents. You could play 3 of this. It feels weird not to play 3 talents anymore, but I felt like Talents is just getting kind of weaker now, and that's a little sad to say because I love this card so much, but I am opting to play 2, and it has been working very good for me. And then I also still play the 1 copy of Called by the Grave, and since we're still playing the Rabbit, I do play the 1 copy of Azaroon just because it is still just that strong. So that's going to round off the main deck. It's a little bit thicker than usual, just like your mother. We play 45 cards in the main deck, no more, no less. I mean, I've tried to get this deck down to 40, but if you really want this deck to be good and not draw your bricks, then you have to keep adding cards to it. It is what it is, but we are on 45 cards. Again, no more, no less. Starting on the extra deck, we play the brand new Azamina Arcelago in the very beautiful quarter century rare. Azamina Arcelago reads that Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense for each Azamina monster you control, and then you can use each of the following effects of Arcsilago once per turn. If a card is fusion summoned, you can add one Azamina Sinful Spoils from your deck to your hand, and if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Sinful Spoils spell from your deck to your hand. So like I said earlier in the combo, you basically summon this, you get to search your original Sinful Spoils, and then you can put this card back to make your Silva, which I play one of. Card is very, very good. This is basically your Omni Negate. What this card reads is that any battle damage your Azamina monsters except Sylvia inflicts to your opponent is doubled, and then you can use each of the following effects of Sylvia once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can tribute this card and negate the effect, and if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a Sinful Spoils trap from your deck to your hand. So we don't play any Sinful Spoils traps, so we don't need to rely on that effect, but this card is mainly here just to essentially negate Nibiru. So the card is very good in that aspect because we're really just trying to stop Nib, and just having this card for the protection is very good. And then the last fusion we play is the one copy of Desiree. Desiree is still very needed, being able to make your princess unaffected, or not unaffected, negate its effects, sorry. That way you can use your princess to link off into the rabbit at the end of your turn, just so that way you can set up an extra form of interruption, and also Desiree's own effect to just give you multiple forms of interruption is very good as well. So that's it for the fusion lineup. For the links, we are still on the Moon of the Closed Heaven, and then we play the one Fiendsmith sequence. Card is still very strong. One copy of Fiendsmith Requiem, one copy of Relinquish Anima, one copy of Silo Hat Rabbit, one copy of IP Masquerena, one copy of SB Little Knight, one copy of Hida, one Nightmare Penis, and then one Promethean Princess of the Bestower of Flames. Card is very good. And then lastly, we play the one copy of Access Code to round off the link package. You don't need Zealantis, you don't need Raging Phoenix. There's just so many cards in here. The extra deck is super, super tight. It just makes it super difficult to add even the smallest bit of wiggle room. I mean, honestly, I was going to cut Phoenix, but you kind of need it just in case you can't negate your princess, so it is what it is. And then the last card I play in the extra deck is the DDD Wave High King Caesar. Card is, again, just there to essentially stop Nibiru. It also just acts as 2 extra forms of interruption for your opponent. So yeah, guys, that is going to actually do it for the deck profile. The deck is super strong, this format. I mean, there are so many things that you can do with it, except make the extra deck bigger, which is like my only complaint about the deck. I guess another complaint is that you can't really play this deck at 40 cards either. I tried, trust me, I have tried. I have like at least 6 or 7 lists on DB right now full of 40 cards lists that just weren't making this deck good, and so I had to keep adding cards to it. But other than that, I still think the deck is a lot of fun, even though it is kind of sweaty. But the deck does do a lot, and I urge you guys to give it a try if you can afford it. But other than that, this has been Papa, guys, and I will catch you all in my next video.